morally as time passes by,
Yeah,
or as time goes by.
very,
Prove it.
very simple example is like we
No,
have
no, no, no.
abolished
You can't. Just
slavery.
second. Just second. Just second. You can't prove a rule by giving an example. Okay, you've made a general statement. That general statement is that as time passes by, human beings, Homo
Mhm.
sapiens, progress morally, and at the same time, you don't even have an objective moral standard to begin with. If you're saying that
My
we are, just a second, let me finish. If
mhm.
we are progressing morally, if we're constantly, improving our morals, we're becoming, better morally. Okay, how can you even say that if you don't have a standard to measure our current, morals by?
Are
You
you
know,
saying that
do you have a
the
stand? Do you have an objective standard?
I I go by the reason and what we have right now on the human rights chart. That's the best the
Okay,
humanity got
That's
to
not the
right now,
question my
and it's
friend asked
gonna
you.
evolve. Well,
My friend asked you if what is your moral criteria to arbitrate between moral claims?
is well, just thinking about it. What's logical, what's
Look,
not?
don't waste your time and think about it, because you don't have, as an atheist, you don't have
I
any
mean, don't
any
you think
objective
that?
moral judgment. So you can't say that we are progressing morally. Okay. So you mentioned slavery and whatnot. These are examples. Rules cannot be proven by examples. Okay, we've done way worse than slavery in 2021. All right,
Hmm.
so please stop. I don't even think that you've thought this thoroughly, to be honest with you. So
Yeah.
think about it, and please, come back again. And
Yeah, this
also, if you're gonna say, again about the because you guys always bring this nonsense up. If it's a religion for all, for everybody, in every day and age, how is it the case that the prophet married a 9 year old? Well, here's the thing. Like I said, the urf, okay, or the custom, is to be considered, given the fact that it does not pose any harm. Back then, it was okay to marry young girls, right? Because it didn't pose harm. Today, it will pose harm, generally speaking, if we marry 9 year olds, right? So therefore, halas. And if you're gonna say, okay, how come your
wait,
prophet did it? The sunnah of the prophet, peace be upon him, was not to marry virgins, believe it or
wait.
not, because
So
he
when
only.
you said therefore right now we shouldn't do it, are you saying that Islam gave us a rule that was only for that time?
Okay, this is an extremely stupid statement. Where in Islam does it say that the rule for marrying girls is if they reach 9 years of age?
Well, Islam doesn't even give an age. Doesn't
So
um
how the hell can you? How did you make that previous statement if it
Well,
doesn't give an
Islam,
age?
what Islam gives is a flexibility that considers maturity on different degrees. Be it
Exactly.
and that's
physical,
exactly what the problem I
psychological.
have
Well,
with Islam is.
Let me finish,
Yeah,
my
sure.
But what I want to say is that the historical context at that time was of such a case that it was a necessity for them to marry at a young age because the difficulties of physical
The
difficulties,
average life expectancy was 40 years old.
it was the average life expectancy was lower, much lower than what we have it now. Wars, no medicine, and so many other things justified those societies into marrying at a younger age. What Islam gave is a flexibility range for us to consider. It did not tell you to marry specifically with 9 years old, right? So the thing is, when you tell us that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is our role model, that is absolutely true, but it is not a blind criteria-less judgment. It's not because he used to ride camels that now we we cannot ride on cars, that we have to go on camels every day, all Muslim, right? It doesn't work like that. What we have is a juristic statement from the ijma of the jurists in Islam saying that there is this certain flexibility that considers the various degrees of maturity when it comes to marriage. And there are actually some psychological papers nowadays coming up with really nice, not really nice, really interesting theories saying that the information gap that we have nowadays It's different from that of 1,400 years ago. Meaning that nowadays, kids to mature up properly in the world we live in, they need to go through a certain amount of education, which 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 presents a gap between the parents and the children that was not a thing back in the days. Back in the days, the parents had just to teach to the children how to fight and care for themselves. Now you need to teach them computers and so on. So there is a lot going on in the background, right? And your understanding of morality, if you were trying to pinpoint about how relative it is, that is a failure, because it only shows that you actually don't understand morality. Since we, from a theistic perspective, claim objective morality, we claim that on the basis of God underlying that. So if God was to give us this flexibility to work on, that would still be objective for us. It doesn't matter the historical period of time. But the thing that you are deflecting and avoiding to answer, well, at least I think maybe you're not. So I apologize if you're not. But the thing you're not answering is, what is your criteria to even be moving this moral judgment that we took the license to explain to you, right?
Yeah,
How do you
because
decide what is right and what is wrong? And don't tell me human rights chart, because that presupposes a criteria in itself. So you
yeah,
have to give us a criteria for the human rights chart or whatever you use in your everyday life. Let me tell you what ex-Muslims tell usually when they're asked about incest. They tell you that it's perfectly fine. Maybe you do not do that, but you still have to provide us with a criteria.
I have yet to hear someone that's an atheist say that's
Dude, don't
fine.
let me
I've
okay,
don't let
okay,
me
okay,
send
okay.
you like three
I've never
videos
heard
right
that
now.
before.
Just a second, just a second. So you haven't heard Arman Navabi say that incest is good, incest is fine. Yeah, you haven't heard him say that. You haven't heard Apus,
I mean,
Apostle
I'll
Prophet.
go
Just a second, just a second,
to
because you
Apis.
said you
Yeah,
said you haven't you said you haven't heard any of them say that. So let me
correct. Yeah.
educate you.
So if two sisters or if two brothers have incest sexual relationship, there's nothing. I can't see anything wrong with it, right?
Well, there is actually nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, right?
Yeah.
And also, if they're straight, if a brother and sister, if they absolutely make sure that they don't have kids, then there's also nothing wrong with it.
Well, yeah.
I see these are taboo stuff that people are like, what
Don't
the
challenge
fuck?
me.
I challenge you. Tell me what's wrong with it. I can't think of anything why people are like, oh, it's gross. Well, then don't do it.
Yeah,
Right?
objectively, there is nothing wrong with it. Let's make
Yeah.
it.
Armin Navabi said that on video. Apus, Apostle Prophet, said that on video. Okay, Abdullah Samir, okay, said that on Twitter, and I have the tweet to prove it. All right.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
I
shall I
take
go
your word
on?
for it. They
All
do
right.
it.
The
So
logical fallacy is called appeal to ignorance. Just because you haven't heard of something, it doesn't mean that it did actually happen.
No, I know,
And that,
right?
yeah, well, that's it. That's
Richard
okay.
Richard Dawkins said it's okay. Lawrence Krauss said it's okay. Peter Singer,
Anyway,
the
guys,
atheist philosopher, said it's okay. It seems that all of these loud atheists have said it's okay except for you. Right?
yeah,
You're the
I
odd one
think I
out.
think you're not
You're the
very
odd one
well
out.
initiated in atheism, Mr. Mehmet, because Mr. Mehmet, I think you left Islam for some other reasons. It's as if I believe that you left Islam in the first place, or
yeah,
that you
they
used to be
leave
Muslim.
Islam thinking
Yeah,
that they're gonna
no,
be enlightened people now. They're gonna be
right.
extremely
But
cool from the
what they
scientific
went to, they
perspective,
left a
right?
religion that told them that animal rape and incest is evil, okay, and bestiality and necrophilia is bad. But they went from a religion that tells them that, teaches them these morals, and they chose a degeneracy where literally there is no argument against incest. They cannot even support, and in fact, they openly justify it. Okay, and this is well documented. This is we have video recordings of them doing it and saying so. And this is still on the record. They have not even retracted any of these statements. It wasn't like they were cornered and they said, you know what, I made a mistake. I'll withdraw those comments. Nope. This is exactly what your religion entails. And I think, as Brother Halabi mentioned just now or earlier, a moment ago, is that I don't think you're very well initiated into what atheism entails and what the atheist worldview actually offers you. Okay, because
I
you,
agree on that.
uh,
I'm not like in a group of atheists and we all do the same thing. I'm not.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's not that you all do the same thing. I'm not saying that all atheists do the same thing. Okay, there are certain implications of atheism that you're not aware of. Okay, again, there are certain implications of atheism that you are not aware of. One of these implications is that you don't have an objective moral standard. That's the first thing. Second thing is that the best that you can do is say, okay, if two adults consent to having some sort of relationship, then we cannot objectively say that it's wrong. Okay, we can only say, okay, as long as they both consent,
and
خلاص,
no
it's
harm
okay.
comes from it.
Yeah, this is the same exact argument. It's the same exact argument that Richard Dawkins gave, Lawrence Krauss gave, Armin Navabi gave. They also say, okay, if a mother and a son are having a relationship and they're both, using contraceptives because of, deformed babies or whatever, which is of course nonsense because babies don't have like an objective value under atheism. But yeah, okay, let's just give it to them. If they're using contraceptives and they both consent and they're both adults,
And they have the option of abortion.
yeah, and yeah, because also, yeah, as you know, condoms do fail with a
Don't
certain.
forget, don't forget the nihilistic aspect of the
Yeah,
logical entailments of atheism. If you believe all there is to yourself is just matter, biological matter, and chemical reactions,
then
then
there's no
and
value.
you give no meaning to suffering at all. You atheists complain so much about how God is allowing suffering to happen, but then within your same framework, suffering is completely meaningless. You're just a biological machine suffering in a meaningless way. Isn't that the most depressing thing ever? It's
I think
literally
more.
conducive to death. If there is someone who is depressed, then you tell him that. I'm pretty sure he's going to commit suicide because life is meaningless, and all is it's going to happen to him is that once he's dead, he's going back to the ground, and that's it. That's it. Then why even bother to leave?
Yeah, and please don't say, okay, we don't have prophets in atheism, and I'm not bound by what some atheists say. No, this is not what we're
Sorry, guys,
talking
I
about.
have to
But
go.
that's good, guys. That's good. What we want is Mr.
Salam
Mehmet to
alaikum,
repeat. He
everyone.
doesn't know this. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah,
Mehmet
okay,
doesn't know these things, and it's
that's
it's
fair. That's fair.
it's great that we're showing him these, and we
So,
want
I
to
just want to ask
recognize
him.
and acknowledge that. We don't want him to actually adopt those views. If he's rejecting them, that's great. If he rejects these powerful evangelists in the atheist community who are very
Yeah.
high profile, then that's great. What we want him to understand is that you made a mistake, okay? Mehmet, you made a mistake by leaving Islam, okay? Because
So, what
that
did you
is
leave
the
Islam?
best way of life out there, and we can demonstrate more for you, Mehmet. Just before you continue to answer Brother
That's
Halabi's question, I just want to tell you
mhm.
that when it came to the question of rape, okay, Richard Dawkins even said that it is better. Well, he effectively argued, these are not his words. He said that it is actually, he argued that it's better to be raped as a child in the back of a car than to be taught about hellfire and the punishments that await a person who is a disbeliever. Okay, so these are the kinds of people. Sam Harris said rape is perfectly natural. Okay, and he said one question on this, and how could you say something like that? He said, well, I can be even more provocative than that. If you give me a magic wand and I could only get rid of one of the following two things, rape or religion, I would get rid of religion and keep rape. Okay. Now these are supposed to be leftists. These are supposed to be atheists, feminists, champions of women's rights. Afghanistan 2021. So then these are these people who are telling you that rape is perfectly natural, okay, and that they would keep rape and they would get rid of religion. Really and truly, Mr. Mehmet, you should be careful. That you in the
Well,
kind of
yeah.
life choices and
I
decisions that
don't
you're
agree
making.
with
Just a
that,
second.
for instance.
Before I know you don't. That's why I'm appealing to your humanity, actually, to be the moral, the fitrah with which God created you with. This natural disposition, this conscience that you were created with. God made you that way. Okay, and we calling you to come back to be in line with that nature. And Islam is the thing that is most in line with that. Now, Richard Dawkins even said rape is arbitrary. The concept of rape being evil, that's completely arbitrary. It says arbitrary as growing 5 fingers instead of 6. Okay, we just happen to have 5 fingers. So rape being bad and wrong in the atheist worldview, it's completely arbitrary. It's neither here nor there that it's wrong. It could have been right. It could have been wrong. So this is the kind of stuff that well-known leading voices in the atheist community, okay, are, you know, bandying about and peddling out there. And really and truly, you should do way more research, Mr. Mehmet, before you make such grave decisions like the one that you have done in leaving Islam for all of this degeneracy and backwardness, this immorality, and I would say ethical bankruptcy. So go ahead, guys. You can take the mic. I want to give Mehmet a chance to speak.
Yeah, Face Palm, I think you asked me why I left Islam. Was
Yeah.
that your only question?
Well, we can start with that and see
Sure, I'll
where it's
just
gonna go.
sure. Just
Well, before
answering
before
Dread
you go there, I
really
mean,
quick.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
did
I was
you
gonna
have
comment
any
on
sort of
what you said.
response to anything I said, or are you just like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. No, I was
go
gonna
on,
start with
go
that.
on, what's next? Is that your approach?
No, I was gonna start with commenting on what you said, and I appreciate all the informations you guys put out there that I was not aware of. And again, I do not follow any of these prominent atheists out there or watch any of their YouTube videos or whatever. Like, I'm not, and again, I didn't say I was an atheist. I said I was an agnostic, or
It's the
simply
same
put,
position
that the
morally.
uh,
You're in the same position that they are. It has no. There's absolutely no difference.
Well, about
An
Okay.
what I
agnostic is still an
here's
atheist, by
how
the way.
I lead my life. I go by the golden rule. So the simple principle of treating others as I want to be treated, and that's how I lead my day-to-day life. And I'll do not do won't do harm to others that I won't want to be done to me. And for so far it worked fine for me. You guys
But
know my
why
feelings.
is it true from your perspective? Why is it true?
That's a really bad rule, isn't it, Mehmet?
Why
It's a
is it
really,
bad?
really bad rule. It's a really weak, flawed rule.
Why?
We can show you. Because, for example,
Well,
you
you're
know, a person may approve of, you know, something like, you know, something very degenerate for himself because he enjoys it or she enjoys it. She approves of this. But just because she approves of it or he approves of it, does it now mean that he shall go and practice that with somebody else? You're saying you'd only treat people, you know, the way that you would like to be treated. But a person may say, no, I don't mind if somebody curses my mum and curses everything that I consider to be sacred. And I would treat you the same way. So because of that, that's a very selfish and a very kind of arrogant, narcissistic way of approaching it. That's completely inconsiderate to other people's sensitivities and their, you know, principles and you know, outlook in life. I don't see how you can say even defend this. How is this even golden? This doesn't even look. It's not even copper, my friend. Forget silver and bronze. This is not a golden rule at all.
sure. Yeah, you're talking about a very bad person who would do bad things and want them
No,
done to
not
him.
bad. He's abiding by
But
the rule that you mentioned.
yeah,
Right. He's
same
implementing
bad
your
person
golden
that
rule.
would. Well, it's the same very bad person that would take Islam and interpret it in a very extreme way and do
No, no,
harm
no,
to
no, no,
others.
no, no,
Like it's the same
no, no,
thing.
no,
Come
It
back
doesn't
to your
matter if it's
no.
argument.
objective or not.
Don't try to shift to Islam because this is not a good get out clause for you.
No,
What
I'm
we're
just
saying to
saying
you
there are
is
bad
if
people
there are
in this
bad people who
world.
can implement your law, your rule.
Think about this example. Let's say someone says, "Okay, I like to sleep with other men's wives." Okay, and I don't care if men sleep with my wife, and he goes and seduces his friend's wife, sleeps with her, and he doesn't mind if his friend sleeps with his wife. That would be okay under your rule because he is treating people in the same way he would like to be treated.
Well,
Okay, but of course, I'm just applying your rule,
yeah,
man. I'm not
I
sure why.
know. You could
Okay,
apply
so
any
so
example to it, but I guess if the four of them are okay with it, all of them,
no, no, no,
then
no. He's
okay.
not. Look, again,
Then he's
again.
gonna go to
Treat
jail.
treat
He's a bad
people.
person.
No, he's not gonna go to jail. Just a
Why
second.
not?
Just a second. Two consenting adults having sex. It's not, it's not something that you would go to jail for. Sorry. Again, he goes and
Well,
seduces his
when I
his
say
his, his, his friend's wife. Just a second.
well, that's not what you said. Sorry.
Yes, I said. I
No.
said he goes and seduces his friend's wife. He sleeps with her,
If
and
all
he
four
doesn't
of them
care if his
are
friend.
okay with it, are
No,
consenting,
no,
it's
no, no. This
okay.
is not what you said. This is not what you said.
Yes,
You
I
said treat
did.
people in the same way you would like to be treated. He
Right.
doesn't mind if people sleep with his wife.
But if
He
he
doesn't
goes to
mind that.
another person's wife and sleeps with her, and
And
she's not
she
consenting, he
no
goes
no
to
no no
jail. He's a bad person.
no, this is not what I said. Please stop
It's
lying
simple.
about what I
Let's
said.
make it
Again,
easier,
again,
Mr. Mehmet. Let's
no,
make it even
just a
easier for
second,
you.
just a second.
Maybe
I literally said 3 times that he goes and seduces her and they sleep with each other. Do you understand what seduces mean? It's not
Well,
rape. It's not
they're
rape.
both
So please
consenting.
get that through your head. He
I
doesn't
did.
go there. Doesn't go there and rape her. He goes there, seduces her,
Are they
sleeps with
both
her.
consenting,
Right?
Hassan? Are
Yes,
they
they're
both?
both consenting.
Then
Yes,
that's
but the
called
husband.
okay.
Just a second. False. The husband is not okay with it. The husband doesn't know at this point.
She's cheating on
Okay.
him. That's
Uh,
simple.
uh,
She's
uh,
cheating on him.
Cheating doesn't send you to jail. Are you a 4-year-old, bro? Are you a 4-year-old?
No,
Cheating doesn't send you to
I
jail.
know. She's
خلاص,
cheating on him.
stop.
They're
Okay,
gonna
if
go their
yeah,
own ways. Then it's simple.
خلاص, and
They're
they're
gonna get
applying your
divorced.
freaking
They're gonna
rule,
go.
and
Yeah.
they're applying your rule.
These are
خلاص.
two bad people. One cheated on her
What do you mean
husband.
bad people? He treated people in the same way that he wanted to be treated.
how can you
If
say
that
he's bad? He's following your rules.
exactly.
I,
According to what
Do you
do you
see?
consider this bad? What do you
I
have in your religion
clearly
that
don't
tells you
see
this
where
is
you want
bad?
to get
We
to.
can tell you why it's bad, Mehmet. You didn't leave Islam for these reasons. You left Islam for some other reason. Let's face it. Most ex-Muslims leave Islam for more emotional reasons, but we will come to that. Do you first accept what brother
Okay.
face palming, what the face palming said to you? Okay, this person is using your rule. You throwing consent into there doesn't change that in any shape or form. Okay, he
I
was
threw
doing
in
unto
consent
others what
when he
he
brought up the
wanted to be
example.
done unto him.
Sure. Well, I guess anyone can apply that rule to their.
In a wrong
I
way.
guess that's not a universal rule to abide to. I do that on my own life because I'm a good person. I guess I'm trying to be, and that works.
How do you
So
know you're
so.
good? You got nothing to tell you you're good. The other guy will say what I'm doing is good. Why are you
Well,
judging
I'm
me
not
to
in.
be bad?
What do you mean? How do you know you're good?
You're saying you're a good person, and so therefore, when you apply this rule, it's only going to entail good things. Well, how are you saying that the other person doing it the same rule is implementing the same rule, okay? But you're saying that he's an evil person, therefore, he's going to only produce
From
evil.
my
What?
perspective, he's not doing
Yeah,
something
it's
good.
complete.
That's
That's the
as
point.
simple as
It's
that.
subjective. It means nothing what you think. It's just your opinion. Whether you
It's
think
based on
you're good
preferences
and that
and
person is evil is
emotions.
subjective. It's just your
Sure,
opinion.
it's subjective. Yeah.
Okay, so you can't say that what the Prophet peace be upon him did was
No, I don't come in
immoral.
here,
That's a
guys, with a religion, a
So now go.
pre-made
Let's let's
religion. I'm
let's let's go
telling you
back to your
this is the
friend
truth.
Mehmet. Okay, the guy who does this, you said is bad. From his perspective, he thinks you are evil. You're being intolerant to his freedoms and his right to exercise the golden rule. You are an evil, intolerant person, a narrow-minded individual from his perspective. So go back to brother facepalming and let's discuss what your original objections were in the first place.
Yeah. Why did you leave Islam?
Well, a few things.
Give us the
Like
strongest point. Let's discuss it point by point. Give us your strongest point.
I'll have to leave in a couple minutes. I didn't want to be disrespectful and just leave,
Give us
but
one point and give us the strongest point.
yeah, I'll stay with you guys for a couple. For instance, a few of them are basically the milk yamin or qital, إن انسلخت الأشهر الحرم فقاتلوا, etc., etc.
Okay.
Milk yamin
المشركين
was
حيث
a big part
وجدتموهم
of them,
وخذوهم
just
واحصروهم
taking.
وخذوا لهم كل مرصد
Okay. Can you?
فإن تابوا
Yeah. So can you tell us the context of this verse? Can you tell us the context?
اقتلوا المشركين.
Okay, and remember, this is why you left Islam. This is your strongest point against Islam, right? So I
No,
expect
there's a
that you
context
understand
here.
the context. No, but look, I asked you multiple times. Give us your strongest point, and this is what you mentioned. So I expect you to know the context of the verse that made you leave Islam. All right. So can you give us the context? So
To
I'll
be
help you
honest,
out. This is in Surah At-Tawbah, Surah 9.
it has been so long that I've like
Come on,
done
man.
my
Come
yeah.
on.
I'm not
Please
gonna
don't give
go
me
into
these
this rabbit hole.
excuses.
Yeah,
No,
no,
it's not a rabbit hole. I asked you why did you leave
look,
Islam. This is the reason that you gave. I expect you
I,
to know the context of this little sentence. It's not even a verse. It's a little sentence. It's part of a verse. So I expect you to know. First of all, you didn't recite it properly. but that's not the, this is not no big deal.
I'm not claiming I'm a
Sure,
fan
sure, sure,
of it.
sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure. No one, Nakama, don't stretch it. I mean, it doesn't take a Quran reciter to recite a small sentence. But anyway, you don't remember what the context is?
I do not know. And
Okay, so
yeah.
let me tell you what the context is. The context is that the Prophet, peace be upon him, established a treaty with many pagan groups. All right, some of the pagan groups broke the treaty, right, and they violated their agreement with the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the Muslims, right. And this is what the same surah says.
This
All
is
right.
related to the
Now,
Banu Qurayza.
no. Has nothing
Okay.
to do with Banu Qurayza.
Okay. My
Right. The same surah says, that says, and for those who respect their treaties and haven't broken their oaths with you, then respect the treaty with them, okay, and fulfill your oaths towards them.
Actually,
All
Brother
right.
Halabi, in the next
So,
verse, it mentions وَإِنْ
when أحد من
أو
المشركين
فَإِنْ أَحَدٍ
استجارك
مِنَ
فأجره
الْمُشْرِكِينَ اسْتَجَارَكَ فَأَجِرْهُ
حتى يسمع
حَتَّى
كلام
يَسْمَعَ
الله
كَلَامَ اللَّهِ.
ثم أبلغه
Do you know?
مأمنه. Right.
Naam. Okay, if one of the mushriks, okay, polytheists, whom you are at war with, there is war. War has broken out. Okay, they broke the treaty of peace. They breached the treaty. Now there is war. The default situation is there is hostilities unless there are treaties to secure the peace. Okay, there was a treaty to secure the peace with these men, these pagans and idolaters. They broke the treaties. Okay, now there is war. So when you meet them, fight them in such a way, in a manner. But if one of them seeks your protection and seeks refuge with you, then grant them the protection. Take them to a place of safety and then let them hear the word of Allah, the speech of God, the Quran. Okay? And then, of course, as Brother Face Palming mentioned, okay, that if they have treaties with you, then uphold your treaties of peace with them. And then later on, only two or three verses thereafter, it mentions, how can you not fight those who drove you out of your homes and made war with you to begin with? They were the ones who initiated the warfare, and they drove the messenger out of their homes. Do you fear them? You should fear Allah. He is more deserved of being feared if you are believers. أتخشونهم فالله أحق أن تخشوه إن
I
كنتم
think he
مؤمنين.
left.
Oh,
I think he left.
maybe
Why did
the
you
ruqya
leave?
effect.